Julie, how did you find Carnivore?
I found Carnivore in 2022 on Pinterest, which is an app that I love. And it's really a great search engine. But I wasn't looking for Carnivore. Carnivore found me. And I don't really even know how. But I was 2022, it was January, towards the end of January. And I had just really been, between I had retired from my gig as a child protective worker. I had retired from that, and it was this pandemic was still kind of going on, and it was winter here and cold, and I just was feeling terrible every day, just so much joint pain. And I was eating all the vegetables and, doing all the things. And I just kept feeling worse and worse. I just kept, gaining more weight, gaining more weight. And I wasn't even really looking at any kind of meal plans or diet programs or anything. But on Pinterest, just scrolling on my little homepage or whatever it's called, uh, came a as you've heard probably many times, a Dr. Barry video, right? Like a little short video, something about, I don't know, what's carnivore or something, So I just clicked it and went right to his YouTube and started watching and took a pretty deep dive right away because I thought, well, back in the day, in the early 90s, early to mid 90s, I had done Atkins. And of all the programs that I've been on, all the different styles of eating I've tried, which is all of them except for being a pescatarian, because I don't like fish. But I mean, I went vegan for a while, I did vegetarian and all the things. And the only one I ever had any kind of success with was Atkins, like a lot of people. And so I thought, well, oh, carnivore. I mean, I know what the word means. So let me just see what this is. What are they talking about? And then so I went down that rabbit hole. And by February 9th, I remember the day, I just thought, well, I just may as well try this because I've tried everything else, and what do I have to lose? Nothing. Like, no harm, no foul. I can give it 30 days and see how it goes. And so that's when I really started. And I did carnivore really solid for about 4 months, 4.5 months. I lost 35 pounds, felt amazing. Joint pain went away, like, all the things that we hear other people say, and you think, yeah, but that would never work for me. But then I went on a road trip. I went on a week road trip. I'm in Illinois. I drove to Florida to an event, and I was there for 4 or 5 days and drove back. And, even on the road, like, I prepped food and took it. But when you have to stop at the fuel up your car, what are you going to get? Chips? Like it. So that whole thing happened. I just went right back into that old eating style. And uh and and over the next several months really started to do a lot more introspection and try to understand why I couldn't get unlocked from that cycle of junk food, carbs. Salty, crunchy things would lead to sugary things, and it would be this endless sort of loop. And by 2023, I started to really understand that it was a food addiction. It was a food addiction. It was a carb, specifically carbs, really, because I'm not going to overeat broccoli. Like, that's not what is going to happen in my kitchen. It is the it is the carbs and the sugar and all that. And even if I had, like a piece of bread at the restaurant or something, that would just trigger off a whole sequence of more, 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 you know. So I really, through those months and up until here recently, I've really kind of dug into understanding my own patterns and what that addiction is and what that cycle looks like for me and this might be a hot take, but I really feel like although carb addiction is not my fault, it is my problem. And so where did it come from though? Like I'm the person that wants to understand, but there was a point in my life, like, I took it back. There's two things that I think are why so many people are food addicted. One of them is the something my grandmother used to say to me. She would say, if you like, my grandmother was not the silent generation, but before that. So she would have, I mean, she would be, anyway, my mother is silent generation, but so it was her mother. So they definitely were farmers during the Depression and all of that, trying to, have, all of the take care of the kids and put food on the table and all that. So the food was not, you never wasted not one speck of food. It did not happen. So she would say, if you would have your plate and there was anything left, she would say, well, your eyes were bigger than your stomach. I remember that so clearly. And in my kid brain, I think I interpreted that as kind of a challenge, like, oh, well, I have to eat all this because I took it. So I have to eat it because I can't, it's not going to waste, right? Grandma would be like, that's not going to happen. So you would eat it because you took it. and and again, it's just a twisted message, I think, that we get, like the clean plate club that, for kids. We don't want them to overeat and ignore their body's signals, but we want them to try things and, have a meal and not be wanting to snack all day, right? For kids. But I think that message just got twisted in me as a child. So, so very early on, I learned to just eat and ignore if I had any signals of being satiated. It didn't matter. I just learned to eat and eat and eat. And I did not want to leave things. So I used to even joke when I was, even up till recently, I would joke with whoever, friends, whatever. I would say any size bag of chips is a single serving bag because I would open a bag and I would eat them all. The end. Like I'm not leaving it. I'm finishing it. So I definitely have, like a long way to go, but starting to like sink into like, where did I get that behavior? Why, why do I do that? Why do I not understand? Like, why is I'm not listening when I'm full? Oh, well, I eat till I feel sick. That's not, that's not how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to feel nauseous when you finish a meal, right? So in 2022, that's when I really like dove into that whole carnivore. I felt really good. And, the carb addiction just kept hold and kept hold and kept hold. And we had a crazy storm here in 2023 and a tree fell through our house. Like that ceiling that's back there had big holes in it. It was crazy. And so we finally now, almost 2 full years later, have the repairs basically almost all the way done. It's been a long time, but now I'm finally feeling like, okay, now I want to get back to that place that I was in 2022 because I felt so good then. So May 1st, I went carnivore. So I've been carb and sugar and veggie and fruit free since May 1st. So I'm actually really happy about that. It feels good to have that little bit of success of these few weeks. Um, So I'm hopeful that the benefits I had the first time will start to appear. Because so far I've lost a few little pounds, but I haven't noticed anything else yet. When I first went carnivore my in 22, my joint pain went away really quickly, like within 2 weeks. I haven't had that happen yet, so I'm waiting for the magic moment. That magic moment where you get up off the couch and you're like, "Whoa!" You know? So, but I feel so much better mentally, emotionally, physically, other than like the joint pain and stuff. But I mean, generally, I wake up and like feel like, okay, there's all these things, craziness going on in the world, but it doesn't bother me like it used to. Just a few weeks ago, I would get so anxious and angry and upset about things that I clearly have no control over, because we all are limited what we can control in this world. But I've really noticed that I'm having not that same level of emotional response and anxiety. And I also don't have that food noise. Like, I've had food noise my whole life, never really understood what it was, you know. Uh, but now I just don't, like, not at all. And I go to the grocery store. My husband has snacks here on the refrigerator over here that are donut things or whatever. And it's just like it's meaningless to me right now. And I want it to stay that way. I want it to stay that way. But uh yeah, not having that food noise and all of that is great. I'm wow, like so much freedom so already. But
That's an awesome sign that you're already kind of over that emotional connection with those kind of foods or those kind of snacks and stuff, right?
yeah, yeah, I even when I like would go to the grocery store, the smell from the bakery, it would get you right there when you walk in. You have to go through that area to get to the meat department. And even that, I just think, no, no, I don't, it just doesn't have that same hold on me that it has had for my whole life, basically. You know, it's kind of fascinating to sort of look from the outside and think, wow, when was the last time that you just had any kind of freedom over having food noise and that compulsion to just go get whatever's in the cabinet? Like,
It's interesting you say that, like looking from the outside, because I think part of that mental clarity, and like you said, the anxiety about things you can't control, has dissipated. Like, I think that's part of you can almost step back and you're not
mhm,
looking at things like, how is all this affecting me? And you've got all the emotions going around and all that kind of thing. You're kind of in a position now where you can step back from that and just look at a situation and go, well, it is how it is.
yeah, right.
Mm.
Yeah, it just to be like, I can only do so much, and I'm just going to do what I can, and I have to just keep moving forward. When I mean, I've been really interested. I have read so many books about health and fitness and nutrition. I mean, so many since probably about 2010 is when I sort of started, getting to more of where that was something that interested me and that I felt like I wanted to learn more about to be healthier. I mean, I've been overweight and obese for decades since my children were babies, and my son now is almost 36, which is so weird. Like, how did these kids get so old and I'm staying the same? It's a strange phenomenon. But so during that, like 2009 and 10 is when I really started kind of diving more into like health and nutrition and fitness. And then my father ended up in an ICU in 2011. And after spending every day there with him for 6 months, I really saw firsthand the difference between medical care and health care. Like I always knew there was a distinct difference, but to see it every single day, like I had to ask them, are you going to give him any physical therapy in case he can recover from this and he has any ability to move his arms and legs, you know? And they were like, oh, sure, we can do that. I was, why am I having to bring that up? You know, I don't know. The whole situation was really messed up. I mean, it was hard. It was a hard thing to see. And, but that event for sure was like, okay, so a doctor is going to help me if I have a significant problem or something that I need critical care. But I have to figure out how to get my health in line, you know. And I mean, I'm lucky in that I'm not on a bunch of meds at this point. I'm 60 years old. I'm not on any meds. There was a time when I was on high blood pressure meds, but I got off of those, just making lifestyle changes. And that would have been 2013, maybe something around somewhere around there. But I'm really lucky in that I don't have a lot of significant health diagnoses, health problems. Although I feel like I'm sort of a ticking time bomb because given how much weight I have that I really need to lose, how much excess I'm carrying around, and with when I was still eating all the carbs just a few weeks ago. Um, so it's really just been by luck, I think, that I haven't had something pretty significant come up. And yeah, and I just finally was like, okay, this has to stop. I have to get this figured out for myself. I'm not going to rely on a doctor to tell me because I mean, I could read all the same studies they're reading, and like I feel like I'm a pretty independent and reasonable amount of intelligence that I can figure things out. So yeah, so carnivore is what seems to work really well for me, and I don't at this point see any reason to not do that. So
Nice. So how are you eating day to day? What's your menu like?
I eat pretty much every day. I have eggs and bacon or pork belly for breakfast. I generally eat twice a day, and then in the afternoon, sometime in the, I eat breakfast early, pretty early in the day generally, and then in the middle of the afternoon, 3 o'clock or so, I will have a meal of. Recently, I've been on a hamburger patty kick, but I went months and months having ribeye almost every single day. And I food prep I food prep a lot ahead of time. So um, I have ADHD also, I found out in 2021 or 22, and which I have had my whole life and didn't know it. So food prep for me just really helps with that executive function issue with people with ADHD, because if I don't have food ready immediately, I will just go scrounging for whatever crackers or whatever is in the pantry. So having something already prepared makes a huge difference, I think. So
Yeah. So was that ADHD diagnosis that kind of, as an adult, one of those kind of things that you went, oh, okay, now things make sense? Or
absolutely. I was following a lady on Instagram who is a creator of several exercise programs. And she was in her 40s and started talking. She would do these little videos about, oh, look, how do you know I was here? Because blah, blah. She would have, all these little videos. They were funny. But she's like, I've been diagnosed with ADHD and here's some of the things that I have. And I just was like, the mind blown, like it was astonishing. I'm like, wait a minute. is that like a real thing? I mean, I know ADHD is a real thing. I work with kids my whole career, but it was just mind blowing to again see myself in a whole new way through what she was sharing. And so I again, like with Carnivore, like I started reading the books, got the books on audio because that's faster for me. And one of the books had a checklist of like 125 signs, behaviors that are indicative of people with ADHD. And so I was going through the list, tick, 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 and I had 118 of 125 things. I was like, well, holy moly. If I had been, you just sort of think I could have taken over the world had I realized what my issues were back then and been able to grow up, you know, working around the way my brain is wired. Like, I could have taken over the world, Dave, but
Do you find when you don't have carbohydrate in your diet, there's any difference?
I do. I'm starting to see that my sleep is better. Uh, I I fall asleep really quick at night, but I wake up so many times throughout the night. So many, 12, 14, 18, 20 times a night. My sleep tracker thing will show awake, 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 awake. And so I've been trying to do my room is cool. I keep it as dark as I can be and, all the things. But really, I notice when I don't have carbs, my sleep is improving quite a bit, considering it's just been about 5 weeks, right? And something odd that I had noticed is that when I eat a lot of carbs, I have a lot of nerve pain in my legs, especially. And when I have no carbs, the nerve pain is gone, which I would not have thought those would be related. But after it happened many times, several times, I started to notice, hold on, why am I having all this nerve pain when I just laying in bed at night? It was terrible. And I thought, well, I've been eating too much sugar. That's what I've been eating a lot of carbs lately. So then I'd stop for a few days and I'd, be able to make it a few days, you know, and then I would have some more, but I would started to notice that nerve pain.
Right, right. Um, so over the last just over a month now, you're back on carnivore.
Mhm.
How has your husband, family reacted to the change, and are they on board? Are they just like do your own thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just me and the dog and the husband here at this point. Um, and he's a trucker, so he's gone. He has long days and is gone quite a bit. So I food prep for him as much as I can. He still eats a lot of like donuts and things on the road, but I try to send him out the door with as much, meat and protein and things as I can. And he doesn't, he's just like, whatever you want to do is fine, you know. Um, I've tried to convince my mother to eat more protein, more meat, and less carbs, but she hasn't come around yet. So I don't think I'll get her converted, but she's 85. So I think she's just planning on like, things are fine. I'm just going to keep going. But I pretty much have kept it quiet so far. Um, not really because I don't want to share with them, with friends and family, but just that I don't know. I just feel like, well, just do my thing and not worry about other people. Let me just work on myself for now, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So going forward, like what are your goals that you hope to achieve with carnivore?
Well, I definitely I want to be able to get some of the excess weight off for sure. So I think I have had about 8 pounds, which isn't terrible for a month. I mean, that's pretty good. I would like it to be much faster than that, right? Because that's what we all want. But really, I just want much better like health, mobility, and strength, and that I enjoy lifting weights. I enjoy biking, training for a 10K, doing something like pickleball. Like I like to be outside doing things when the weather's nice, and I want to be able to do those things and feel good and not be so so out of it and overweight and miserable and sore and tired that it's just no fun, right? So weight loss and overall health improvement. I mean, the weight loss will come, I know, you know, but I'm just anxious for it. I'm just anxious for all that to start um,
Right.
faster than.
Yeah. I think, having been on and off keto and Atkins for more than 2 decades now, I kind of feel like the second time you go in, the weight does come off a little bit more slowly than it did the first time.
Yeah,
It's like the first time your body's like, "Oh, okay, we're not doing those carb things anymore. Okay, well, I can get rid of all this water and I can get rid of all this other stuff and the inflammation and blah blah blah."
right,
You just notice this big change at first, but it doesn't happen the same way the second time.
right. Well, and I was thinking about that yesterday. I think that this between 2022 and now, I mean, gosh, I can't believe it's been 3 years already, but I think it just, the slower progress this time, I think just is indicative that I have done more damage, that now I have to make up for that and then start back from like where I was before. So there's a whole like I look at it on a line and there's like a whole chunk that I went farther back. Now I have to make that up and then get to where I can move, a little quicker maybe. So,
Mm, yeah. So, Julie, if you were giving someone advice about starting carnivore, what would you tell them to do based on the experience you've had?
well, I would tell them to I would give them a list of books that I would, encourage them to read if they wanted to read, or videos like YouTube videos like yours and Dr. Barry, and like so many people sharing so much information that is super helpful, and motivating, and gives you all the tips and tricks, right? But I think it's important to really think about what kind of like, I can't be a moderator. Like, I cannot be a moderator. And I have to be an abstainer. And nobody wants to have to be an abstainer but clearly that doesn't work for me. So I have to know that about myself. And I think that when someone's looking at making a big change like that, understand what kind of personality and person that you are as far as that goes. And I'm very much, um, you'll hear some people. Gretchen Rubin has a great book. I think it's called The Four Tendencies. And she talks about people being like four personality types. There's like an upholder, an obliger, a rebel, and a questioner. And I'm definitely an obliger. An upholder is that person who says, "Oh, I just decided one day and then I never had another one again." And that just like my mind can't wrap around that, because that's not how my personality works. I'm an obliger. I will do it, and because I said I would do it, and show up for someone else or for another reason. And I'm a little bit rebel too, so I sort of get that sort of gets me sometimes. But yeah, so I started a YouTube channel to share my carnivore quest. I call it a carnivore quest. And because that is my way of, you know, using my personality, because I'm an obliger, I will show up and share for other people. And, and then one night early, like in May, maybe the second week I was on carnivore, I really wanted some snacks. And I came into the kitchen and I thought, I don't want to have to do a video and say I've already caved in and like so I'm like, okay, wait, that was my little bit of like, this will help me be accountable to myself, because we've all given up on our own decisions in the past. I think so many people do. They'll say, I'm going to do this every day. And then we get 5 or 6 days, and then we cave to our own decision. Even though we want it, it's hard sometimes. So that creating that channel, and I've put a few videos up sharing different things, and that's just my way, I think, of helping me keep that promise I made to myself, you know. So
Right. So, if people want to get in contact, how can they find your channel?
yeah, it's called Julie's Carnivore Quest, and I have maybe 8 videos on there now. I try to do one every few days just to like check in and that kind of thing. So I know it's a slow build process, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. It's um, my way of hopefully, some other ladies who are like me who are older and are just like, I want to live a lot more years. Like I'm not ready to, to give it all up yet. Like I want to have another, like I want to live to be 100. Why not? So if I've got 40 years or 35 years, I want them to be good, feeling good. I don't want to be feeling terrible. So that's that's what I hope, is that other people who are kind of in a similar place will be like, well, let's try this and see. So,
Yeah, well said. No worries. So I'll link to your YouTube in the show
yeah,
notes.
great. Thank
Julie,
you.
thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you so much. It was good to talk to you.